Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. We are continuing our reading of this wonderful book from the purification of the heart, Hamza Yusuf's commentary on the poetry of Imam Mawlud. Let's continue our deep analysis of it and overall review for the book club. Alright, so let's begin. We were on page 53. It's been very insightful book nonetheless. Ahmad ibn Abi al-Hawari said, "Whoever loves to do something and loves to be known for it has committed idolatry, shirk." Ooh, that one is we gotta be careful. Imam Jazuli said that a person may engage in blameworthy ostentation, even if no one is there to notice. Okay, so as we know, Allah sees everything that you do. You'll be held accountable for everything. So we have to remember that. For instance, he warns that if a person reads something and comes across some abstruse manner, and thinking it would be a good to mention in public, he writes it down or memorizes it with the intention of preparing for the grand moment to unleash his newfound knowledge before the people. This is ostentation, and different from learning something so that others may benefit from it. Okay. So if you got a new nugget of information, and then you hold on to it, waiting to kind of pop it on there, that is seen to be a form of ostentation. That's unique, because I think a lot of people have done that. I mean, I think I've probably done that in the past, right? You learn something and then you hold on to it and you wait for the right moment to use it to where it's the most potent. It can happen. I guess it depends though, right? Scholars in particular are in danger of this kind of ostentation. Oh snap! Oh no! Oh no! When scholars gather together, there are certain expectations among them. Okay, let's see what it is. Becoming preoccupied with this expectation and working to learn something for the sake of peer pressure can turn into a kind of ostentation. Aha! Learn something just because people pressured you into it is wrong, right? I don't let peer pressure do anything to me. A great early scholar named Sa'd ibn Abd Allah said, "Whoever desires people to know what is between him and his Lord is in a state of heedlessness." Okay, so that one's, you gotta be careful. I have seen some people who do live streams and they constantly mention Jesus, right? Jesus this, Jesus that, Jesus this, Jesus that. God said this, God said that. There comes a point where you have to be like, are you gotta kind of have something to say about your religion, but have there be a lesson in there. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people, they want you to trust them because they're religious. It's like, you gotta be careful. So he has a point, right? Of course, there are exceptions to this. It could be that a worshipper sees that people have abandoned good actions, and so he does them publicly as a way of admonition. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I can definitely see that as well, because I get motivated when I see someone doing good, and when you see something crazy, sometimes you're like, you know what, let me lead by example. That's really what I've been trying to do, is lead by example. And so he does them publicly as a way of admonition, as a reminder. For instance, Ibn Umar, Ibn Masud were known to go to the mosque before dawn in order to perform the night vigil prayer, tahajjud. Okay, so they were known to go to the mosque before dawn. So are they talking about Qiyamah? The 2 a.m. one? They could have performed this voluntary worship in the privacy of their homes, but they did it in the mosque in order to encourage others to do the same. Yeah, right? I mean, you can do it at home, you can do it in front of people. All comes down to intention, as we've learned, right? Next, Imam Mawlud refers to Imam Malik as al-Najm, the star. Okay, so Imam Malik, the star, and Imam Mawlud. For his students used to say, if we speak of scholars, Imam Malik is the star. Oh, well, that's a compliment, right? Imam Abu Hanifa is called Al-Imam Al-Azam, the greatest Imam. Oh, really? Okay, so we'll put that in brackets so that we can nerd out on that later. Imam Malik did not consider that epithet harmful, as long as the original intention was based on the foundation of sincerity. Yes, so that's quite clear now, so far in this book, thus far. Sincerity, doing it for the sake of God, should be the only motivation for our actions, right? Imam Malik was once asked, "What do you say about a man who walks to the mosque for the sake of God, but then on the way there thinks to himself, I hope someone sees me walking to the mosque?" Ooh, yeah. Because like you can see it's like, oh, I want someone to see me. You're like, that's shady. But if you're like, oh, I hope someone sees me, he's like, they know I'm doing good and I'm not a bad person. It's like, depends, right? Imam Malik did not see this as harmful, as long as the man started out with sincerity and wards off such whisperings. Okay. Imam Maulud then says that abandoning a good act out of fear of ostentation is worse than engaging in ostentation itself. Okay. Yeah. That can actually give us a little bit of hope, because if you do something good, right, some people might not, they might not even see that action as good, and they might ridicule you for it, right? But if you're doing it with a pure heart, it's not ostentation, and it's a good act for you, even if others perceive it as not so good, right? Because we're getting to the inverse now in our reality of what is bad is good and what is good is bad, and what is good is considered hate speech or slut shaming, or you're being cruel, right? If you have a friend who's an alcoholic and you're like, hey, stop it, maybe you shouldn't be going out with certain kinds of people. Some people will like hinder you and be like, you're a prude, you're this, you're that, live free, man. It's like, there's a point, right, where you can use your own example of yourself to help lead other people to something better. You don't want to do it, though, for the wrong reasons, but it's complex, right? It's really complex. A person should not abandon, for example, going to the mosque because he fears ostentation as the motive. One should not submit to an irrational fear that is perhaps inspired by evil whisperings, and thus deprive oneself of the blessings of congregational prayer in a mosque. Okay, so congregational prayer, mosques bestows you blessings. We definitely learned that. So don't let your doubts brought on by the darkness really overcome you into irrationality. It is better to continue with one's good deeds and to work to keep one's intentions pure and sincere. So everything we do, just have to keep it sincere. Even if the haters bite, we just got to keep going. If there is an act of worship that one may do in private, then perhaps it is better to do so. Yeah, there's some things you can do in private, right? And other things you can do both. As previously mentioned, it is an ethic of Islam that one performs such acts of worship privately in order to train the soul and purify one's intention and guard it from ostentation. Okay, so are you as motivated when you're alone as when you are in public, right? And if you are, then you're really purifying yourself towards away from ostentation, right? The Imam mentions an interesting fact. Engaging in remembrance of God, dhikr, dhikr, I think this is takbir or dhikr, I don't know how to pronounce that one, but it's spelled dhikr, with one's tongue. Okay, engaging in remembrance of God via your actual words, even if the heart is heedless, is better than abandoning it altogether. What a person repeats on his tongue might eventually reach the heart, even if the heart is not yet engaged, for the heart of man lies under his tongue. The heart of man lies under his tongue. That's an interesting paradox, to say the least, right? Because you wonder these days, you really do, because you gotta guard against sophistry. But you see the fruits via language, but sophistry now is getting so extreme. What do you think, fam? What did you learn? I learned quite a lot from this. We just have to check out this guy, the star, Imam Malik. We gotta check him out.